I'm very happy, first of all, to be here and joining you guys in this wonderful conference that for me is even more than a conference because it's involving, young people and with new horizons, as the title of the conference says. So I was born in Panama, raised in Panama. I studied law. I graduated from law. Then I joined a law firm in my country. I did then a master's degree in New York, came back. And in the year 2011, the president asked me to represent Panama in the United Kingdom as the Panamanian Ambassador to the UK in London. We helped that campaign, in many aspects, in the program, government program and so on. So I took the challenge to come to London in 2011, and I was, I think, the youngest ambassador in the UK. And it's a very, very important embassy for Panama because the United Kingdom is a top 3 investor in the country. I have to say that I come from a political family. My father has been a senator, member of government, a Supreme Court judge, and the law firm that I'm a partner of is a law firm that a former president founded. So I would say that the politics and the public life run in the veins, if I can say that. Since, Panama, usually the embassies cover other countries. I was also Panamanian Ambassador to Ireland, to the Republic of Ireland, and to Iceland. And as Panama is very famous for its canal, the Panama Canal, I was also the Panama permanent representative to the IMO, that's the International Maritime Organization, I'm sorry. So, I spent 5 years in London. I was also the Panamanian consul. So after finishing that, I came back to my practice as a lawyer. We opened an office here in London, an office of the law firm. And in last year, 2018, I'm speeding it up a little bit, the process. We started the new campaign for the new government that was elected just this past 5th of May. So I decided to run for a seat in the Senate in a constituency that is located in Panama East. That's is very close to the border of Panama and Colombia, and is the biggest constituency in size. It involves 4 districts. So under my constituency, there are 4 mayors and 23 representatives. This constituency involves land, mountain, but also islands. So the campaign was, I have to say, was hard work for about 4 or 5 months. So I got elected in the 5th of May. And in my political party, we are 18 senators, and in the whole parliament, we are 71 senators. So that's the position I hold at the moment,
cool.
Anna.
Yes. So it seems that you have various experiences, like as an ambassador in the UK, in different countries, now as a politician at the domestic level. Shaping Horizons is about science. We see science, international collaborations, diplomacy. That's kind of the ethos of Shaping Horizons. So, in your experience, how do you see science as relevant, as something relevant for diplomacy?
Well, there is a term that I always use when I speak about diplomacy that is called science diplomacy. Science diplomacy is basically how we see these days the new relation between countries. Remember that there is a lot of new, I would say, new manners of communication these days. Now it's not only the old, fashioned way of dealing between countries, but nowadays there are new players. When I say new players, I'm talking about NGOs, I'm talking about private individuals, I'm talking about entrepreneurs, scientists, and so on. So I would say it in the way that diplomacy these days is a mix of many things. And when I say a mix of many things, I mean that you have to take into consideration how the world is changing. I was reading the other day how Denmark established a new something called like digital ambassador. So a new platform to get tech companies to look at Denmark. It will be very, very risky to say that you can replace the human interaction. I believe that the human interaction is a must. And even though we have all these new platforms these days that you can communicate via the internet, via text, and all of that, I think that person-to-person conversations and meetings cannot be replaced. However, I do believe that there is a new step forward that you can facilitate communication and you can bring people in. How do you bring people in? For instance, in the case of Panama, we're now having at the Senate a big debate in climate change, a big influence because of what happened in the Amazon. The Amazon is just a few kilometers away south from Panama, and we all saw what happened there in the devastation of the Amazons in the recent weeks. After that, many NGOs and climate activists came to Panama and say, please open the eyes, you have a big forest called Darien, you have to stop people from cutting the trees. Why I bring this to you, to the attention today, is because that's how a little country, small country of only 3.8, almost 4 million people, became aware of that. And let me tell you something, Panama could be very small, but Panama is the connectivity between the south and the north. And don't forget that we also have the canal. The canal connects the world. That's how the economics of the maritime industry move forward. If there were no canal, the ships will take twice or more, maybe much more, to get to its final destination. So as a small country, we don't have the economics of Mexico, we don't have the economics of Brazil, I'm talking about Latin America, but we can exploit or take advantage of our geographical position to be, for instance, what Singapore has become in Southeast Asia. So yes, I strongly believe that in diplomacy and in politics, you have many, many different players, different factors affecting it nowadays. We are also part of very important economic zones. For example, Central American region we are part of, which by the way, we just signed a free trade agreement with the UK, apart from the one we have with the EU, because since the exit of the United Kingdom from the European Union is imminent, they decided to sign that treaty with not only Panama, but with the region. So yes, diplomacy is really a science, politics is a science, and there are many players these days involved in this.
So in your experience, maybe you have seen different ways in which international collaboration has happened, right? So do you have an example in which probably science has played a role? Like maybe the example that you gave about the problems with the climate and climate change. So can you explain a bit more what is happening now in Panama in that area?
So we want to comply and be a lead example of, let's say, lower the emissions that we see are affecting the world as we speak. It's not easy. We started by approving a law that says no more plastic. As I said to you, in my country, not everyone is as educated as we wish they are. So it's also a matter of education, that they understand what is good and why that is not good. I give you another example. Panama is surrounded by waters. A lot of our continental waters cover not only the side where the canal goes, which is the main factor of our economy. So we are trying to educate people that they understand that if we put a measure, it's for their benefit as well. Having said that, after we pass that law, people are trying in the supermarket, as you see in different places, to avoid plastic. But it hasn't been, it's not in operation at 100% at the moment. Another practice is, that is a law actually that I have, the main idea, and I will enact it, I think, in the next legislative period, is that each graduate from high school has to plant X amount of trees, especially in the areas where there is devastation. That will not only teach the young people at their age when they graduate that they are responsible for their country, but also will help reforestation. I took the example, it's been a success case, I believe, in the Philippines, and I'm pretty sure Costa Rica has also done something similar. Thing is that now we have to, again, collaborate with different NGOs. Why? Because we need to get the resources to find those plans, to be able to give those plans to the students. Remember, we have many public schools in Panama. So that's, for example, another aspect that I believe will greatly contribute. In my constituency, particularly, we have the two major rivers of Panama, and yet we have problems of water, lack of water. As we speak, there are people that wake up in the morning and they don't have clean water to have a shower, to drink, and all of that. So as I said, we are a developing country. We have a lot of things to do, so that our people can have the basic needs of health, education, proper life as itself, proper work opportunities, and the most important part, to try to cut criminality in the street. Remember that Panama has been, I wouldn't say the victim, but we have had a lot of immigration in the last 10 years from the south, specifically from Venezuela. And these people that are coming from Venezuela, of course, they have their own challenges, their own problems, and that has contributed that different crimes have been developing even greater in Panama. So that's an aspect that we're going to try to help, because if children grow up seeing that criminality, it will be very difficult later on to cut that.
Last question. Shaping Horizons is about science, diplomacy, international collaborations, young people, the University of Cambridge, right? So, so what do you see in Shaping Horizons? Why a diplomat like you, ex-diplomat, now a member of Congress, decides to come to Shaping Horizons and be part of this experience?
So I tell you a very short answer. First of all, the let's say director, I don't know if that's his title, but I will say director, Matias, inspired me, not only because he's a very active, young professional, but also he's Argentinian. I always try to promote my people, my region. I feel very proud, first to be Panamanian, but very proud to be Latin America. And I think that a lot of people take for granted what Latin America has to offer. I'm talking about everything Latin America offers, not only in the tourist side, a cool place to be, great food, which is of course amazing, but the talent that we have in Latin America. And an example of that is that today that I arrived here, I've been greeted by 3-4 Latin Americans. I haven't been greeted yet by a Panamanian, which I heard there is someone from Panama here, but by Mexico, Argentina, of course. And when he invited me to the launch of Shaping Horizons at the Argentine Embassy in the UK, I said, of course I'm gonna go, because this is an initiative from a colleague from my region. And I decided that I wanted to get even more involved, but not only through my participation here today, but bringing people, young people from Panama. And from Panama, I think I was talking earlier with Matias, we could also join people from the Caribbean and Central America to this great opportunity, because for them to come to Cambridge opened their world. Of course, we have universities in Panama, in Mexico, in Argentina. You have in different places, Colombia, of course, great university. But when you're talking about the history that Cambridge offers, and I have to say, another aspect that inspired me to come is the Chevening scholars. Because the UK government has enlarged the number of Chevening scholarships to Panama. And we have had here, in the last 5 years, maybe more than 25 students, only in Cambridge. Of course, they divide in different universities, Cambridge, UCL, King's College, I mean, different universities. But in Cambridge, when they come back with this experience, they are really successful. And one of them is now senator as well, one Chevening scholar. So those opportunities that Shaping Horizons, in my view, can offer the young people, which are our future, our actually very short-term future, is what inspired me to be here.
Yeah, thank you, Anna.